This grainy security camera videotape graphically depicts the last few moments of 15-year-old Latasha Harlins' life.
Store owner Soonja Du thought 15-year-old Latasha Harlins was going to steal some orange juice.
She had the money in her hand. You can see the money in the videotape. And the suspect grabbed the backpack, and there became a physical altercation over the backpack. And as our victim turned to walk away from the scene, the suspect raised a weapon and shot the victim in the back of the head.
Latasha was an A student, honor roll student. She got money every week for her allowance, so she did not have to steal orange juice.
The store clerk, a Korean woman, is now in jail. The black community is outraged over the killing. The NAACP is demanding the clerk be tried for murder.
The court please read the verdict. Title of court and cause. Leave the jury to remove other kind of action, find the defendant, Soonja Du, guilty of voluntary manslaughter in violation of Penal Section 196A.
It is not a time for rhetoric, which serves no purpose other than to fuel the fire. It's like throwing gasoline on a fire that's already burning. It is my opinion that Mrs. Du is not a danger to the community and that she is not going to reoffend. I know a criminal when I see one. I know a person who presents a danger to the community when I see one. When I don't, I treat that person as something other than that.
I damn sure hope so, that there would be all the hell in the black community that would stand up and see this insanity for exactly what it is. Black people once again being unjustly treated by this damn street.
Since we don't pick cotton anymore and cut sugar cane, our lives is not worth anything.
All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High. And I decided to revisit this story. Someone sent this story to me. And it's just an example of how black people have always been a target from all sorts of groups here in the United States. Now, this is the story of 15-year-old Latasha Harlins, who was shot by that Korean store owner in 1992. And as you saw that racist judge say, I don't think she's a criminal and she's not a danger to society, after shooting a 15-year-old girl in the back of the head after falsely accusing her of stealing an orange juice. Now I'm going to show you another video which gives you a little bit more detail about what really happened in that store, as well as the after effects of this. Now, mind you, this happened a couple of weeks after or before the officers who beat Rodney King were acquitted. So Latasha's death was a catalyst for what they deemed the LA riots, where, you know, black people rose up because of this treatment that they had been seeing in the city. But first, just watch this video, which gives you a little bit more about the climate of that time after and before the death of Latasha Harlins. And these videos are used in fair use for literary and commentary purposes only. Just watch.
There was a case that would also shake South Central LA to its core.
It was like Emmett Till. Everybody just ready to go to war. Everybody ready to fight.
Latasha Harlins was 15 when she was shot and killed by a liquor store owner, a Korean immigrant who accused the teen of trying to steal a bottle of orange juice.
We grew up together. We only 4 months apart. So we grew up together in the same house all the way from birth till the day she passed away. So it's my sister.
Shanice Harlins Kilgore is Latasha's younger cousin.
You lived how far from this market?
Oh, roughly a half a block away.
And it's normal to come here?
Normal to come here.
Here is now at Numero Uno Market, but back in 1991 on Figueroa and 91st, it was Empire Liquor.
I can still see her right there where she dropped that in the front of the camera, from the video. So no, I don't go in there.
Security video captured a scuffle between clerk and customer. Soon Jadu shot the teen in the back of the head, killing her. Witnesses said Harlins had cash in her hand.
To die with $2 in your hand, that lets you know that she was not that person that the media or whomever say so is what she is.
Du was convicted of voluntary manslaughter, but given probation. Then came April 29th, 1992. The not guilty verdicts in the beating of Rodney King. 4 LAPD officers acquitted. Rioters took to the streets. And after years of cultural tensions, half the businesses burned or looted. 2,000 of them were Korean owned.
This 15-year-old child who got her brains shot and blown out over a dispute over a bottle of orange juice was the precursor to the civil unrest in 92 after the jurors found the LAPD cops not guilty for beating Rodney King.
That was activist Najee Ali last year.
We will never forget Latasha Harlins.
It was at a playground dedication and a mural of Latasha Harlins at Algin Sutton Recreation Center.
It's really beautiful.
There's a whole generation that may not know the story of Latasha Harlins, but there is a movie in the works, and last year a Netflix documentary got an Oscar nomination. You'd come to this park as a child?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
So it means what to have that artwork?
Priceless. Lots of emotion.
The Rodney King beating. I was a young anchor during this era, reporting live during the 1992 civil unrest. This picture ending up in a university textbook to the Harlins family, documenting history matters.
Just so that this generation can know about what happened 30 years ago, because they don't know. If you ask a 18-year-old, 19-year-old, it's not taught in school. It's not taught in their household, or it needs to be relevant right now.
That was Christine Devine reporting.
And that is one of the reasons why I am sharing this video as well, because these incidents are not taught in school. When I was in school in the 90s, we learned about the 60s with all of these things happening. Now, in 2025, 30 years later, this is reminiscent of what I was learning about in the 90s from the 60s. So this happened in 1992, where you see the racist judge let this lady off with 400 hours of community service and probation after she lied about being robbed, after she also threw a stool over that counter. You can go back and watch the video. And then the young girl hit her with it like a 2-piece or whatever. And then, that she realized, okay, well, let me just go ahead and leave this lady. Here's your orange juice. I don't even want it. And then she walked out the store, or she walked away. Didn't even get a chance to walk out the store. That Korean owner shot her in the back of the head, and then she's going to fall out like she's just so passed out. And then her husband comes in, and then they reported a suspected robbery. And this is the treatment that Black people have been getting in this country for centuries. They said over 2,000 stores were burned in the LA riots that were Korean owned. That's a problem in itself, because we have a community, but we support these people who could care less about us, and they do not contribute not one dime back into the community of the money we send them. And that's a whole nother story that we're going to have to talk about at a later date. But just watch this last narrative of the video. This person goes in depth. I think this is Cali Faces. Shout out to that channel, just using fair use for literary and commentary purposes. So she's going to give you an in-depth timeline of what really happened and the history of this situation. Just watch.
Just 13 days earlier, 15-year-old Latasha Harlins, who lived in South Central, decided to stop at the Empire Market near her house to get some orange juice. Empire Market was owned by Korean husband and wife Billy Hwang Kai-do and Sunya Do. The couple had bought the mini market a few years earlier and was just one of a number of Korean families who had been purchasing businesses in South Central neighborhoods since the early 1980s. Normally, Billy Hwang Kai ran the front of the store with his son, but that morning he was working on the outside of the market, so his wife Soon Ya-do was at the register. At around 10 a.m., Latasha entered Empire Market and immediately walked to the back refrigerator section of the store and grabbed a small $1.79 bottle of orange juice from the cooler. Latasha put the orange juice in the back pocket of her backpack and proceeded to the front counter with $2 in her hand. But before Latasha had a chance to show her money, Soon Ya-do accused her of trying to steal the juice. Soon Ya reached over the counter and grabbed Latasha's backpack. Latasha pushed back. Soon Ya then grabbed Latasha's sweater, and Latasha pushed back again, knocking Soon Ya down. Attempting to end the confrontation, Latasha tossed the bottle of orange juice on the counter and walked towards the door. Seconds later, Soon Ya reached under the register, grabbed a .38 caliber handgun, and fired, hitting Latasha in the back of the head and killing her instantly. Court documents later revealed that Latasha had died with the $2 still in her hand. The entire incident was caught on surveillance camera. The killing of Latasha Harlins added to the already tense relationships between African Americans and Korean Americans in South Central during the 80s. In the book The Contested Murder of Latasha Harlins, author Brenda Stevenson noted that tensions had been building for years between the majority Black community who lived in South LA and the Koreans who ran businesses there. Korean store owners believed Black customers were dangerous and more likely to shoplift, while Black customers accused Korean store owners of being racist and disrespectful. These beliefs from each side created anger and hostility in the community that sometimes turned violent. As the public debated both sides, Soon Ya-do in the case of Latasha Harlins went to trial. 51-year-old Soon Ya testified on her own behalf, claiming that the shooting was in self-defense and that she believed her life was in danger. Court documents show Soon Ya testified that although she could see the orange juice in Latasha Harlins' backpack, she remained suspicious, feeling that if Latasha had intended to pay for the juice, she would have had the bottle in her hand. Security footage proved Soon Ya's claim of shoplifting to be false, as it showed Latasha approaching the register to pay for the juice. The security footage also contradicted Soon Ya's claim of self-defense, as the video showed Latasha walking away during the time of her death. The jury found Soon Ya-do guilty of voluntary manslaughter and recommended the maximum sentence of 16 years. However, the trial judge, Joyce Carlin, threw out the jury's sentencing recommendation and instead sentenced Soon Ya to 5 years of probation, 400 hours of community service, and a $500 fine. Soon Ya received no jail time. Judge Joyce Carlin explained her decision in a statement at sentencing, saying, "Did Ms. Do react inappropriately to Latasha Harlins? Absolutely. But was that overreaction understandable? I think it was." Judge Carlin added that she believed it unlikely that Soon Ya would ever commit a serious crime again. After Soon Ya's sentencing, Latasha Harlins' family, as well as the community, was outraged. Denise Harlins, Latasha's aunt, held marches and protests demanding justice for her niece. But later, a state appeals court unanimously upheld Judge Carlin's sentencing. This intensified the feelings in the community of anger and frustration with the criminal justice system. The LAPD tried to calm tensions throughout the city by disputing reports that Latasha's shooting was racially motivated, and the president of the National Korean American Grocers Association released a statement asking the public to see the incident as a dispute between store owner and customer, and not a racial event. But these statements only caused more racial divide. 6 months later, in April of 1992, while the Latasha Harlins verdict was still fresh on everyone's mind, the Rodney King verdict was announced. Not guilty. Within hours, violence erupted on the streets of South LA and quickly spread to Koreatown. By the time the riots ended, 5 days later, more than 60 people had been killed, over 2,000 were injured, and nearly 6,000 looters and arsonists were arrested. The rioting destroyed Koreatown. It's estimated that almost 3,000 buildings were damaged or destroyed, and that approximately 2,000 of those buildings were Korean-owned. Soon Ya-do and her husband's store was one of those businesses. Empire Market was looted and burned to the ground, and it never reopened. Following the riots, the LA Times reported that the LAPD blamed the city's unrest on the Rodney King verdict, but that most Koreans believed that they were targeted because of the death of Latasha Harlins. Despite this, months after the riots, leaders from both the African American community and the Korean American community got together, calling for a time of healing, and over 30,000 demonstrators gathered in the same spot the riots took place, marching for racial solidarity. It's now been almost 30 years since Latasha Harlins was killed. Her story has inspired numerous books, movies, documentaries, and songs, with the most notable being Tupac's song, Thug's Mansion. Latasha Harlins is now remembered not as a symbol of hate, but as a symbol of why we need peace. And to this day, Latasha's family still holds a vigil every year in her memory, bringing awareness to what racial divide can cause, if not addressed.
All this racism and hate going on and people being pitted against each other. Please don't believe the hype. Support one another, all nationalities, because we're going to need it.
All right, so shout out to Cali Faces, man, with that, narration. But there's a lot of, misconception about this racial peace and unity. Especially when it comes to economics, they can say, well, yeah, we like you. We want to be together, but they're not putting any money in the black communities. And I talk about this a lot, where every corner store now is owned by Middle Easterners. I guess back then in LA, it was the Koreans, and, we have the Arabs and all of those things. So all of these people come into the black community and they're able to set up businesses and don't contribute back into the black community. And then it's our fault because we support them and letting them treat us any kind of way, talk all, bad to us, put up guards, bulletproof glass, don't even touch you, put the money on the counter. They have the little thing, that the rotary thing that gets the money, and then you got to put, they give you the goods. Like, is that type of treatment there? They were saying, well, the Koreans thought blacks were dangerous and the blacks thought Koreans were racist. Well, yeah, the Koreans probably were racist, but blacks weren't dangerous. It was because, they're at the bottom of the totem pole. Anytime poverty is there, crime is also present as well. And so, we know about, the history of the U.S. government, and the economic apartheid here in America against black people. So, this story, man, is just, once again, another example of how less than 30 years ago, black people were still getting lynched publicly. To allow that Korean woman to say that she feared for her life and, she was a victim, and lie about it after the video footage shows something different. Once again, it's just the American lexicon of, the devaluing of black life. That judge said, well, did she act inappropriately? Yes. Was her actions understandable? I think it was. Well, in the world like that, and that is the judicial word salad that they tried to spew to justify their racism, when the jury wanted to give that lady 16 years, and this judge set aside that. She probably was paid off or whatever, by the Korean Grocers Association, whoever these are. But, how did all these Koreans just come to America and begin to set up businesses in the black neighborhoods if it was not, a bigger plot to do so? But, rest in peace to Latasha Harlins, man. They talking about she's no longer a symbol of hate. She was never a symbol of hate. She was a symbol of what hatred can do, but she's no symbol of hate. That racist Korean lady is the symbol of hate. So it's just funny how they try to spin the narrative with all of these these stories, but, luckily, our eyes are open to the truth. And, as the scripture says that, we, everybody will be against the true children of Israel. Every nation will come against us because we are God's chosen people. And once we, be cognizant of that, and once again, turn again to the ways of the Most High, then he will hear from heaven, then he will forgive our sins, then he will heal our land. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. Y'all see the number 919-587-7782. If you like this content, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. It costs you nothing, but it allows this channel to grow more prevalent in the internet space. But I thank you, and especially you, for liking, watching, sharing, subscribing, commenting, engaging in this channel. And as always, I pray you have peace and blessings. And as the scripture says, all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret shall be exposed on the mountaintop.
Let's go, Rich. Let's go. You watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar, don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Who keep the people informed with stories abroad from literary work where the narrative's wrong. The research is always on point, the commentary is hard. It's Rich Teller raising the bar. Follow along. Shout out to FBA, still FTP. Big up NFAC and all my black families. There's three sides to all stories. Which one you gon' believe? We run down on the false prophets when they come to deceive. 100% urban world news, current events. We don't like them lies. Media is biased. We got God beside us. Ladies and gents is power. If you don't know by now, look around me, the darkest hours. Cops squeezing hammers cause they don't understand. We stop and freeze with our hands to kill us off like cancer. Don't speculate before the facts on the case. Telehouse set them straight by smoking rich investigating. You watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar, don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing.
Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now.